But people, they want to play games with God.
Oh, it's serious. Yeah.
Oh, when it's convenient for them, they'll come to church. When they're sick in their body, they'll come to church. And when God gets them all fixed up, they're doing whatever they want to do, and they forget all about the Lord. Oh, let me tell you tonight, this Jesus is not a spare tire. When you have a flat, you go to your trunk and you get her out and you put a tire on. A lot of times, that's the way people wants to use Jesus. You know what? It ain't going to work. You know what? After a while, he'll get tired of you using him. And you know what? He'll cast you out. He'll put you away from him now. But you know what? People think they can do whatever they want. And they're going to be all right. There's been a lot of people say, well, God understands. It's all right. Go out here and do a little bit of sin and just come right on to church. Honey, God understands. No, he don't. God don't understand. Sin is sin. There ain't no little. There ain't no big. There ain't no difference in it. Honey, if you're mangling in sin, I tell you what, you better be careful what you're doing, because you might be endangering yourself in a place called hellfire. But everybody wants to make an excuse tonight. I can't go to church down there. I don't like that place. I don't like the way they do things down there. They've always got something to say, Brother Jonathan. Always got something to say. Well, I don't like that preacher. He preaches too hard on me. He wants to pinpoint me. You know what? I don't try to pinpoint nobody. 90% of the time, if you watch me when I preach, I got my eyes closed, because I'm not making contact with nobody, because they'll say, well, that preacher knowed what I was doing and knowed I was doing things wrong, and he's preaching directly to me. You know what? If God anoints me and it hits you and it hurts you, don't blame me, but to blame God. But I tell you tonight, we need to step up and begin to do the things that God has given us to do, and let this old wicked world that we're living in just go right on by us, because if we ain't mighty careful, we'll leave this world and not in good standings with God, and if we do that, we're going to wind up in a place called hell.
That's right. Amen. This is serious.
You know, I've heard them say that there's going to come a time, Brother Jonathan, if you mention hell, they're going to put you in jail.
Right. Yeah.
You know what? They might well come and get me right now. They might well just put me in there. Because you know what? I'm going to preach hell. I'm going to preach against the things that this book speaks about. I'm going to preach it. I don't care the old saying, if it higher lips granny. Honey, this word is the truth. And the Bible said, let this word be the truth and every man a liar. I tell you, there's a lot of liars in the land today. But this word is going to stand. When this world is on fire, you know what? It's going to be a burning before long. But people, they want to make excuses.
There is no excuse.
You know what? When you stand before the Lord, you ain't going to be able to make no excuse. He's not going to open the book up for excuses. When he opens that book up, it's going to be the Lamb's Book of Life. And you know what? If your name's not in that book, you're going to be in trouble. And I've said this, and I'm going to say it again. I believe out of the kindness and merciful God that we serve, he'll know that their name is not in that book. And they'll look to him and say, Lord, I really did think my name was in that book. Lord, would you look one more time? And him already knowing that their name is not in that book, I believe just to try to satisfy them, he's going to look in that book. And you know what? If your name's not in that book, he's going to look at the angels and say, bind them hand and foot. And cast them into outer darkness, which is the second death, which is the lake of fire that's going to burn forever and ever and ever. But people want to make excuses tonight.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
We better quit making excuses. We better start going to the house of the Lord and start doing the things that God has given us to do. If God has given us a gift in life, you know what? We need to start using that gift. Because if we don't, he'll take it from us and he'll give it to somebody that will. I ain't going to lose nothing I've got that God's given me, Brother Jonathan. I'm going to let him add more to me. Why is that? Because I love him tonight. I cherish him tonight, Brother Kenny. I have always been perfect? Absolutely not. I've made as many mistakes as anybody else has made. But you know what? I'm like Paul. I have an advocate with my Father every night. And I asked Him to forgive me where I've come up short or where I failed Him. And I asked Him, I say, God, wherever I failed You today or wherever I've come up short and not realized it, Father, will You please help me to turn from those wicked ways? Change me if I start to do something wrong. Put that conviction up on me, God. I don't want to do things wrong. I want to stay right in the center of His will. Have I always been there? No. Any man said that he's always been in the center of God's will, let me tell you tonight, he's a liar. We're not perfect. We don't try to be perfect. But we do this. We strive to do the best that we know how to do. And you know what? A lot of people may know more than what we know. And they may do things different than the way we do things. But you know, the way we do things is exactly the way God wants us to do. You know, I believe in serving God with everything in me, Brother Jonathan. I believe in praising Him. I believe in worshiping Him. And I believe in shouting. I believe in running. I believe in raising hands. Honey, I believe in doing whatever God tells us to do. Some places you go in and you start to run, they'll run you out and tell you not to come back.